Hello, Nick Stewart here, and this is our series of Meet My Network. And in this episode, I'm going to have the great pleasure to sit down and discuss things with Alfredo, and I'm really looking forward to this. I met Alfredo back in 2010 when he was very much one of the digital marketing experts in lead generation for real estate companies. And he sort of progressed. I'm sure he'll tell us more about it himself, but he's progressed now to be what I would consider to be the property guru of Marbella. So I'm really looking forward to his insights into the Marbella property market. And by being a property guru, you'll see when we interview him, he's not tied to any specific one company or one point of view, and he generally takes an overview of the whole market, and that's really good to have somebody that sees it, sees properties being sold for 200,000 or 1 million, etc. So I'm really looking forward to this. So let's crack on and see the interview with Alfredo. Good morning, Alfredo.
Good morning, Nick.
How are you?
I'm very good. It's a little bit cloudy here in the south of Spain, which is unusual, but I'm making the most of it until the sun comes out and fries us to death for the rest of the year.
Okay, and here in sunny Cascais, it is sunny today in Cascais, just outside Lisbon. It's pretty good. So I think we first met in 2010, so it's 13 years. When I first met you, you were, I would describe you as a digital marketing expert. And now you've progressed into what I would consider to be a Marbella property guru. So can you tell us a bit about your journey and how you ended up where you are currently?
Well, thanks for referring to it as a guru. As long as one does not refer to oneself as a guru, then it's okay, I guess. But
yeah, for sure.
It gets a bit cheesy otherwise. Well, I did since we met, I was doing marketing, lead generation, social media, all that kind of stuff for real estate agents here in the Costa del Sol. Did it for, 10 years or something like that. I did it for a while within a marketing agency that serviced multiple real estate agencies. And through a process of repetition and experience, kind of figured out what people were asking for most of the time. Real estate agents, what they were asking for in terms of a service wasn't necessarily what they needed, and it wasn't going to give them the result they thought it would. There's a lot of misinformation, particularly at the time, about how things worked online. So towards the end of my time at the marketing agency, I realized that most of my value was in the initial conversation with a potential client in figuring out whether what they were asking for was indeed what they needed, and it would not maybe give them a steer in the right direction as to what might give them that option. In a lot of cases, it was more, identifying red flags and sort of steering people away from wasting their money on things that wasn't going to give them the result just because they'd heard it in the pub from a mate or something like that. So that was kind of became my forte towards the latter years. So when I went independent 3 years ago, that's kind of the area I thought I could offer the most value as an independent consultant. So as an independent consultant, what I do now is I advise state agencies, developers, mostly here in the Costa del Sol, in matters relating to their strategy to do with marketing and lead gen, and sort of crosses over into sales, but more on the digital handshake part of it. So not so much, generally it's agencies and developers that are asking for some advice in either changing a strategy or a startup, someone that wants to start up and they want a little bit of advice on who to use for what and what should be their priorities. And I just pull on my experience of all those years doing it for the likes of yourself. I think you taught me a few things at the time, quite a lot of things. And here I am.
Yeah, so you also, how can I put this? The difference I would say now compared to how I see it anyway, now is you create a lot of content on the internet and everything, in essence, that you're not being paid for, if you like. You'll interview a lot of different people so that and the thing that comes across to me is that you are sort of, even though you make money from somewhere, everyone makes money from somewhere, you come over as somebody has a really good overview from maybe a house that sells for 300,000 to the one that we know that went for 32 million. You seem to have that.
Yeah, and the thing is I'm quite lucky because I have 2 or 3 retainer clients that keep the lights on. And they happen to be more by coincidence than by design in three very different segments of the market. One's a property portal, and there I have a visibility on a macro scale in terms of trends and markets and so on. The second one is a new development centric mid to high end agency that does volume. And then the third one is a very high end golden mile, well established real estate agency. And they kind of give me they keep me plugged into the system from those three aspects. And in order to be able to do my other stuff, which is the consulting ad hoc work I do for other people, I need to be aware of what's going on in the market. I need to understand where the trends are. To be able to offer advice, I need to have my finger in the pulse. So this Robin Hood thing of kind of getting paid here, learning stuff and sharing it over there for free, so to speak, comes from actually I'm learning. I have to do it anyway. I have to figure out these things anyway. So I just share it because it offers value. And really, I am probably not right for most agencies. Most agencies don't need me. Most agencies that maybe have a question for me, I can answer it in a WhatsApp message. It doesn't require a big consulting process or anything like that. So I tend to just work more on a referral basis for when agency says, look, do you know someone that can do this or can do that? If I happen to know a company that can or that seems to be doing a good job for other people, then I can refer them on. But 99% of people that come to me to hire me, I don't end up working with, because they don't need it. And that is part of the consulting process, is identifying, do they need me or do they need something entirely different? And if I can solve it in a 15-minute initial phone call and put them in the right direction, there is no value in me working with bad fit clients. And that then becomes self-regulating, because I'm on my own. I don't have a team. I have no intention of having a team. I've had a lot of years working with teams. Yeah. And I quite enjoy being a solo flyer. And as a solo flyer, the only asset I really need to protect is my time. And
I guess the thing that most people would be interested in is, consider your journey where you are. There's sort of two questions. One, have you found the whole process of learning? And bearing that in mind, how do you see the market now and for the rest of 2023, and as an overview, how do you see the market in Marbella,
the real estate market?
The real estate market, and what do you think? What do you think the trends are? I mean, are we going to have a recession? Are we, or do you share my view that depending if you're in the really high end, that it's really immune to everything anyway? But I'd be interested in your point of view.
I think the year, we were expecting it to be much quieter than last year. Last year, let's face it, was better than we thought it would be as well. The pent-up demand that accumulated during the lockdowns and so on. 2021 was a record year for many. 2022 was certainly the first half of the year continued with that pent-up demand. There's records being, companies announcing record sales left, right, and center. Last quarter of 2022, and the last month in particular, the cooling down started happening. So we expected 2023 to start pretty quiet, and it hasn't. It's been quite good. It's been surprisingly good. So a little bit surprised by that. The rest of the year, I think it's got to cool down. The market has to cool down. The pent-up demand has been satisfied largely. The lack of supply of stock in many areas, particularly in the high end, has meant that it's kept this relative demand balanced, as in there is still more demand than there is supply. Therefore, there's a sensation that the market is buoyant, but I think on a lower base. So I would say the rest of the year will be more like a normal year. If we can remember what 2019 was like, it wasn't an amazing year by any stretch. It was a normal year with the seasonal changes, and I think that's what I would expect to see this year.
Right. And just one real final point. How do people reach you and find you? Most importantly,
I hang out in LinkedIn. So if you search for Alfredo Bloyd Dawson on LinkedIn, I'm there making a little bit of noise. If not, through my website, Bloyd Dawson. I don't even know what my website address is. Bloyd-Dawson. I don't know. I don't even know what my website address is.
Okay,
LinkedIn.
Okay.
You wish we went through LinkedIn.
But LinkedIn, I'm sure they'll see if they subscribe, if they follow you, they'll be able to pick up your videos, and
Sure.
if they want to get in contact with you, they can send you, send you a private message.
Of course. Yeah.
And what else? Just a final recap, really. Maybe sort of the major takeaways for the Marbella property market. Is there anything special or any other observations that you would make going into sort of 23, 24 you'd like to leave people watching this video with?
I think in Marbella, the Marbella brand is stronger than ever, and it's stronger in more countries than it used to be. It's always been an international market, but I think it's stronger than ever, particularly in the high end. And I think that is something that's going to continue. I don't think as long as they keep the football hooligans out, like they occasionally do a little purge, things are going to be good. I think it's a very attractive market for both investment as well as for the new way of life, which is the quality of life stroke digital nomad stroke blurring of the lines between primary, secondary residence. It ticks a lot of boxes.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can see from the outside, as I said, I left Marbella in 2014, 2015. But for me, or from an outsider looking in, it does seem to be much more geared towards million+ sales than the average market went up. So when I had Spanish hot properties, our average sale was somewhere between 250 to 400,000, and our marketing was designated towards that. And we can probably have another video about digital marketing, about price points and how you market on different channels for different price points. But I generally think that's, and the one thing I did about moving abroad from actually being based in the Philippines and now in Portugal, when I was in Spain, I saw only Spain or only Marbella as the greatest place on the planet. Now I would suggest my journey is not dissimilar to yours, from being a digital marketer looking after specific clients to doing like the overall picture within Marbella.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, it's very similar. I mean, you've fled the nest a bit more and done some great things abroad. I'm still hanging around the same neighborhood, and trying to keep a low profile and failing most of the time. But yeah, I think that everybody talks about it, and it seems to be evidence of it. That two things that the lockdown has done for this market is it has sped up the use of technology, which is very handy when it's a second home market and you're selling to people that aren't here. And secondly, it has made people reevaluate their priorities, particularly in the high end, those who can afford to, and where they want to spend their time and how they want to spend their time. So I think those two things combined has really made like where you are, where I am, and there's plenty of other places like it, very attractive to more people than just golfers and sun seekers, I think.
Yeah, so I think the final point for everybody is, if I was a first-time buyer choosing an international destination to retire to, why should I choose Marbella?
Because it's an asset that is unlikely to lose value, and it's an asset you can live in, which is kind of cool.
Okay, that's great. Thanks ever so much for your time today, Alfredo. I really, really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the catch up. As you can tell with these interviews, I try to keep them as brief as possible. We may do longer form later on, but thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.
And it's very much appreciated.
My pleasure. Great catching up with you.
Thanks for watching the video, and please feel free to connect with me on my personal website, nickstewart.co. Really looking forward to hearing from you. Bye for now.